Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is one of the best games I have ever played, and I'm really old, and I've been playing games since games were a thing, so that's quite a statement, you know? I've played games from all the different genres, I've played games from all the different systems over the decades, and this game really does stand out as one of the best games I have ever had the privilege of experiencing. It's just so well made, you know, like it just smacks you around the face and makes you realise you've been missing out the last couple of years. We've been missing out on these amazing, massive games that have been crafted with love, with passion, with people that really want to make fucking good games, and none of this bullshit about, you know, microtransactions or DLC or season passes. These guys at Warhorse Studios really care about what they're making. You can see it in every pixel of this game. You can see how much they love gaming, you can see how much they love the world they've created, and it's just there for everyone to see. And in actual fact, there's a clip on one of my favourite films that just made me think of this instantly.
Now, I know what you're going to say, but the fact is, you've been making us all look bad.
I'm sorry, sir?
Of course, we all appreciate your efforts, but you've been rather letting the side down.
It's all about being a team player, Nicholas. You can't be the Sheriff of London.
If we let you carry on running around town, you'll continue to be exceptional, and we can't have that.
I was actually amazed when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and it was clear very quickly that this game was incredible. There were actually studios, not just like single pundits or like lone rangers out there, but actual game developers out there and publishers that were giving Baldur's Gate 3 developers, they were giving them shit because they made such an exceptional game that it made the rest of them look bad, and it made it clear that gaming studios could do better. And these very thankfully a very small amount, but a very small amount of developers and publishers were like, guys, you're raising the bar too high here, you know, we can't keep up with you. And it's like, well, don't then, but don't bring people down for making a game that's exceptional. So, as promised, I'm going to give you my score early in the review. I'm calling these reverse reviews, hopefully, you know, maybe catch on, I don't know, but my score for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a whopping 95 out of 100, which so far is the highest score I've given for a game, and I don't see anything beating it for the foreseeable future. So what do I like about this game the most? And I would say, surprisingly, it's the dialogue, it's the characters. Straight away from the start of the game, in the introduction, you can see Hans and Henry are just packed with personality. Their expressions, the way they move, the very real language that they use. It doesn't sound like they're reading off a card or they're in a sound studio. These sound like real people, how they would react, you know, effing and jeffing and you know, ripping into each other and just having a bit of banter, then having a bit of a squabble. And there's this feeling that they've known each other for as long as they really have, you know, in the game. There's that feeling of emotion when they speak. It's so well done. And all of the voice actors I've heard in this game, they're just amazing. Even like small NPCs that have like a very minor role, they'll just say things and they just catch you off guard. Like, I don't hear that kind of thing from NPCs usually in games. Well, very rarely anyway. And so, yeah, the voice actors for Henry and Hans and all of the actors in the game, they deserve a lot of praise for this game, and obviously the director as well and the people who put it all together. Exceptional stuff. So the world itself is probably my second favourite part of the game. This feels like a real world, like you can be stood in a hayfield, and you know that feeling when you're out in the sunshine in the summer and you can hear like a distant hum of like activity, and you hear the like birds and the crickets, you know, and it's just, they just nailed it. And sometimes you're riding across through like a valley and you can see the terrain going out in front of you, and you just feel like you're in a real breathing world. It's amazing. So after the introduction, you're given the reins properly, and you don't really know which way to head. And I'll be honest with you, for the first hour or two, I got kind of lost, and I lost a bit of patience with the game. I was like, you know, where am I going? What am I doing? And it took me a while to get back into that feeling of being in a game that doesn't just like give you a map marker and say, right, go here or go there. This is your next quest. It kind of does that in a way, but it also makes it more. You've got to think about things. You've got to read books. You've got to ask people where to go. When you arrive in a village, you have to actually physically walk around and like find out where things are, like you would have to do in real life.
I'm throwing so well, I'll use up my luck for a whole week.
How are you faring, girl?
Well, you know how it is. We minstrels are always on the move. Times are lean and folk need a laugh.
You're not wrong. The poorer people get, the more they drink and sin, and laugh while they're at it.
The poor man sins, the noble sins twice, but the monk and priest are the masters of vice.
What's your name, minstrel girl?
They call me Dancer, but I go by many other names.
And can I hear them?
If you come by after a show, maybe I'll let you give me one yourself, handsome. But now, alas, there's no time to perform. We have to leave here in all haste.
Why the rush?
Our tricks and jests rub some respectable old farts up the wrong way at the town hall. Our tomcat entertained the bailiff's wife, in the hay, and he caught them in the act.
I bet he didn't find it funny, did he? And they say there's no place for sin anymore.
Indeed. The bailiff don't take to his pizzle being yanked.
I'm afraid it is time to part, minstrel girl.
Farewell, handsome. Maybe our paths will cross again.
Another aspect of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that has gained a lot of attention from the media is the realistic systems that are in the game. So this is partly a combat game, it's partly a story game, but it also is built on the foundation of loads of like really nice realistic systems. And that is weirdly why I don't recommend this game to everybody, because some people just haven't got the time to spend like an hour doing some brewing potions, for example. Because when you brew a potion in this game, you have to do everything correctly. You have to like get the right base, the right ingredients. If the ingredients aren't fresh enough, you won't get a nice potion. Then you have to actually time it all properly, get the flame properly underneath the base, and so on and so forth. And if you do it all correctly, you get a nice potion. If you don't, you get a lower grade potion. And that is the way this game runs most of its systems. So it's not just alchemy. The game is just covered with all kinds of different systems, from horse riding to blacksmithing. And what I love about it is that each one is improved mostly by doing, by actually getting your hands dirty and getting involved with the thing that you want to do. Even things like if you carry around heavy items and you're over encumbered, your strength value will increase. If you hop over a fence, your vitality increases. If you are sneaking around and pinching people's things, your stealth and your thievery increases. And I think very early on I decided I was going to be a thief. I was going to be somebody who enters a village, is weighing up, who's got what, and then comes back in the dead of night, puts on my dark clothing, and starts to relieve people of their valuables. And I found that to be like quite an interesting way to go. Now there are some parts of the game later on where I think stealth is almost required. So I do think if you are going to get pretty far in the game, stealth, lockpicking, or I would highly recommend you get involved with them early on.
I must be mad.
Now I call the three Bs in the games industry Bethesda, BioWare and Blizzard, and 10 years ago it would have been almost inconceivable to think of these three studios as on the decline. They had the world at their feet in different ways. And now it's like they've all just started to diminish. They've become too big, maybe, I don't know. But especially Bethesda, people are looking forward to Elder Scrolls 6, and it's weird. People are starting to think that it won't be that great, and for good reason. I mean, Starfield was as far as I'm concerned, an absolute disaster. Some really like poor choices in game design, using procedural planets that were basically empty with nothing on them apart from like one base. Some very bad writing, and then we've seen games from BioWare as well. I mean, BioWare is basically on their last breath at the moment. So a lot of people are really sad about this, and games like Elder Scrolls 6 were originally going to be these amazing, like massive worlds, and maybe it will be, but I think a lot of people now are looking towards games like this and having hope and thinking, right, these are the guys now taking us forward. These are the studios that are actually going to provide these big open world RPGs that have the same level of quality and even more quality than these original Bethesda titles.
They could hardly sleep.
Can you blame them? I'd rather come and get a beating than hang around in Zhelyaov too.
You see? They're provoking us again. And they brought a stranger. There's no use trying to negotiate with them.
There's nothing to negotiate, old man. The pasture is ours, and that's final.
Bullshit! You know right well that I got smacked around as a child in that orchard right over there.
What do we care where you got smacked around?
Don't laugh at him!
So many times in gaming, you come to a game that's absolutely fantastic. The combat's amazing, it's got so much potential, and then it's let down by technical problems and poor performance. I'm really happy to say that is one thing that hasn't happened with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Technically, it's finished. It's in an almost perfect state. It runs beautifully. Even on the Steam Deck, you can play it like with the settings on medium, and you get some decent frame rates. So, yeah, I mean, this is a really small section for me. The game has everything I want it to have. It's got all the graphical options. I've played it on my 3080 Ti on everything whacked up to full. I play it 1440p because I think that's probably the best on PC at the moment for a good performance. And it just runs beautifully, and I've got no problems. Not a crash, not a hitch. I have had a couple of graphical things here and there, like when you're walking through the forest and you look at the horizon and the sun's going down, there are some shimmering effects I've noticed. But apart from that, yeah, absolutely fantastic and no problems at all. So I think I'm coming to the end of my review now, guys. I think I've said everything I want to say. This is an incredible game, and I think everyone should give it a try. If you're not a big fan of open world RPGs, maybe this game will convince you to be one. I mean, it's got everything there. Everything you would ever want in an RPG is here. There are so many ways to play it. So many different avenues, perks, strengths, weapon types. You can be a decent Henry and do the moral choices. You can be an absolute rogue. It's completely up to you. And there's so many things to discover out in the world that the game doesn't put a big neon sign pointing down and saying, "Here, come and look at this. We've spent 3 days developing this part of the world, so you have to come and see it." There's none of that. You just find things organically through playing, and that is the beauty of this game. You just play it, and you get lost in the world, and that's what you want for an RPG. So thanks for stopping by, guys, and watching my video review. I really appreciate your time. If you could leave a like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Even better, could you leave a comment, feedback, anything you can think of. I always try and reply. I love having conversations with people about games, so yeah, feel free to leave a comment. And I hopefully will get my my Monster Hunter Wilds review out in the next week. I don't get review copies as it is because I'm a very new channel, and so it does take a little bit of time to get the game to a decent state and then give a good review. But I hopefully will have that out in a week. So I will see you all soon, guys. Take care. Hope you're all well.